How's it going, everyone? Greg Ferris back here at Ferris for Fitness, and today I'm going to give you guys the 531 review. So if you're not familiar with 531, I suggest you do some research on that. Again, I'm not going to really get into depth of how the program works and all of that stuff. If you really want to do that, I'll post some links in the description box below so you can become more familiar. This video is really going to be about me and my progress, my thoughts about it, the pros and cons, and kind of who I think it's for. So stay tuned for that, guys. So I'm gonna try to make this video as concise as possible. I have my little notes here talking about what I want to talk about. Again, if you're not familiar with 531, go check it out. And here's kind of my thoughts on it. So first thing I wanted to talk about is kind of my progress on the plan, or on the workout routine, the powerlifting routine that is Jim Wendler's 531. I started it in October. I actually have my Excel sheet on my computer here. So I started in October, right after I came off contest prep. So my results were probably a little bit dramatic from the start, but after that, so if you're familiar with the program, you're supposed to just make 10-pound jumps in the lower body lifts, squat and deadlifts, and then 5-pound jumps in the upper body lifts, overhead press and bench press. Again, me coming off 5% or less body fat, I can make a little bit bigger jumps in the beginning. So I did that, but after about my third or fourth month, when my body fat kind of settled down, I got to my set point really, and my weight gain kind of leveled off. I went with that normal kind of rate of gain, right, on my percentages, and these are my actual total gains throughout the 7 months. These are all the estimates. I did max out to start this program in October, but I didn't get a true 1 rep at the end. I finished it last month, and now I'm starting my new program, so I really didn't feel a need to 1 rep max or anything like that. But the deadlift started at 315 back in October, and then I finished with an estimated 1 rep max of 390. So it's a 75-pound gain in 7 months. A little over 10 pounds a month there. The squat went from 295 to 365, so that's a 70-pound jump, exactly 10 pounds a month there. The bench press went from 210 to 260. That's 50 pounds in 7 months. So again, a little bit over that 5 pounds a month that you normally should have. And the overhead press, I struggled a little bit more with. Again, it's just a more difficult movement in the first 3. And again, as far as powerlifting and its relevance, it's more of an accessory exercise. It's not one of the big 3, obviously. But I started at 140 was my 1 rep in October, and then when I finished was 170. So a 30-pound jump there. And I doubt it was actually 140 back in October, so maybe a little bit higher there. But overall, a 75-pound gain in deads, 70 in squat, 50 in bench, and 30 in overhead press. So pretty dang good progress for 7 months, right? Another thing is to note, my weight gain over that 7 months was about 152. I was about 152 on stage, and then a week ago I was about 165. So 13 pounds in 7 months, along with those strength gains there. So like I said, if you followed my channel for a long time, I did gain a decent amount of weight, about 1 pound a week for the first 6 to 8 weeks, coming right off my prep. But after that, kind of steadied off, and you see over the past, if you kind of average it out, over the past 7 months, I gained just over 2 pounds a month, which is exactly what my goal is. So it was nice to, again, have that program, get stronger, gain muscle, hopefully as much as I possibly could, and not get overly dramatic with the calorie surplus and packing on a ton of fat. 15 pounds in 7 months, especially coming off a contest prep, is pretty damn good in my case. So that's kind of just my progress I wanted to talk about, guys. Again, if you followed my kind of training videos, you understand that. And again, 531 isn't a program where it's just going to put 40, 50 pounds in your bench in a few weeks. It takes the slow but steady approach, which is, I'll talk about that later, but kind of the smart way to do things. Your form really doesn't deteriorate like that, and it definitely makes for linear progress. It keeps you motivated. And again, now I just want to talk about some of the pros and cons. Again, this is my opinion on this program. Again, I am 21 years old and nowhere near a veteran. So, but again, just my thoughts here. So one of the pros, probably the best pro I think about it, especially for myself, is the structure that it gives me. So again, there's no really guesswork as far as the big 4 movements that I was doing. I went in, I knew my numbers, I hit my numbers. I went at kind of the extra mile, and I went off like percentages for extra volume work. I even had those numbers. So it wasn't kind of, oh, should I increase the weight? Should I decrease the weight? I'm not feeling good today. He's like, no, I had my numbers. I went in there, I hit them, I left. So it takes that kind of, if you're kind of the person who overthinks things like I do, it's kind of, I think it's good for you because, again, it takes that guesswork out of it. All you have to do is walk in there and hit your numbers. If you hit your numbers, you increase. If you don't hit your numbers, you need to change something up, right? Another thing is it has progressive overload built into the program. So a lot of people, they'll go train, they'll train hard, maybe the nutrition's on point, but they miss the most critical thing of strength training, and that's getting stronger. And 531 has that built in, like I've talked about. If you hit your reps, they recommend 10 pounds for your lower body lifts. Obviously, you can make quicker progress on those, and then 5 pounds on your upper body lifts. And again, if you're super, super lean like I was, you can kind of get away with bigger jumps than that. But for the most part, I would try to stick with those, again, unless you're a super beginner, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But again, it has progressive overload built into the program, which is nice because, again, takes the guesswork out of it. And if you do it properly like I did, you will gain strength like I did. 75 pounds in the dead, 70 in the squat, etc. Another thing is focus on the big lifts, right? Squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press. All barbell movements, all proven for decades to build strength, build muscle. It's what I call another kind of pro is little bullshit, right? There's not a lot of fluffy exercises in it. It's really just a template of those 4 movements, but still, it's any program, I think, that's built on progressive overload and got the barbell movements in it, I think you're probably ready to go. So I really like the fact that it's focused on the big lifts and not like the pump and all those things that some people get caught up in, right? Another thing is you can tailor it to your needs. So again, there's just 4 lifts in the entire week that are set out for you. So, if you have some hamstring, if you need to bring up your posterior chain, maybe you want some more bicep work, maybe you want some more abs, you can put that in your assistance work. All 531 really are those 4 movements laid out for you. And then, again, I give you some recommendations. You do like the boring but big. There's a bodybuilding template. There's a few different kind of templates out there for assistance work. But again, that's kind of left up to you. So it's good that it's not just, some people are going to need more assistance work on one body part, and another person's going to need assistance work on another body part. So like for me, it really gave me a chance to hammer up my chest, hammer up my posterior chain, and those things after my big lifts. And then, things like quads are a little more dominant for me. I didn't have to do a lot of quad accessory work, like on my squat, my deadlift days, right? Another nice thing, my last pro for the program, is that deloads are built into the program. So if you're not a good person at like learning to scale back the intensity, it's nice to just know, okay, every 4 weeks I'm taking a deload, where I feel like awesome or I feel like crap. I feel like I can hit a PR. You're scheduling those deloads in there, so it's pretty damn hard to get in that period of overtraining where you're unmotivated to train, you're not making PRs and things like that anymore. So now I'll get into the cons of the program, which is a lot smaller list. This is kind of nitpicking, but again, it's good to be objective about these things. No program is perfect, right? So the cons I had is that it's kind of a low volume.